Good afternoon, everyone. I welcome you back to the YouTube channel once again. So today again, we will start with a lesson on prepositions. We've already done first part of prepositions where I've explained you all kinds of prepositions. And now we will take specific few prepositions and I'll try to explain you what these prepositions are. What are they useful for? Fine. So they help to give information about time, location, and direction. Let's talk about position or location first. The prepositions we'll be talking about today. It's very simple to talk about prepositions, but yes, these prepositions are very confusing if you're not paying much attention to it. So you're all requested to pay attention and look at the video again and again. Yes. So a preposition is a word that links or shows a relationship between noun or a pronoun with other words in a sentence, hence completing the sentence. We've already done this. A boy from Mumbai. Here's the preposition from tells us the relationship between Bombay and boy or Mumbai and boy. A bone for the dog. Here the preposition for tells us the relationship between dog and bone. And the various prepositions are in, on, at, around, above, near, underneath, alongside, of, and for. Let's discuss the important ones. There are three kinds of prepositions depending upon when, where, and in which direction the event has taken place or a thing has moved. Preposition of time, preposition of place, and preposition of direction or movement. We're already familiar with this. Let's talk about the prepositions on, in, at, and by. On, in, at, and by. These are very important, and mostly the students get confused in using these prepositions. In English, we say the school is on the Park Street. They live at 10 Race Road. The museum is in the city. There are different ways of saying things. Remember this. Fine. I live at 300 King Street in an apartment on the 4th floor. So these are various things we talk about it. Remember, different prepositions can be used with same words, but this can change the meaning of your sentence. Yes. What I mean is, different prepositions can be used with same words, but all this changes the meaning of your sentence. For example, I am in the car. Sachin Tendulkar is in the car. He's saying, I am in the car. But this gentleman is at the car, is not inside. Fine, he's at the car, near the car. I am on the car. This gentleman is standing on the car. You can see, on the car. There is the difference. In the car, at the car, on the car. Same sentence, different preposition changes the whole meaning. Now let's talk about the first preposition today, preposition in, which means within. Within. Fine. Let's talk about it. Within. Now the best way to think about the preposition in is being within something, inside the edges of something. So let's start really simply with containers, spaces that are enclosed. Fine. Inside the edges of something, for example. There is no coffee in my cup. I've got coffee in my bag. There are books in the cupboard. All examples indicate things enclosed inside the edges. All this means these are the things inside the edges. You follow? It's easy to think about all these examples. It's easy to think about all the examples as being inside something because the edges are really clear. Here the edges are very, very clear. You can see inside them. There's a clear inside and an outside. You understand this? Take another example. I am in the car. The car has a clear edges. I'm definitely inside the edges of the car. When we say in with buildings or rooms and places that can surround a person or an object on all sides, that's the various, there is a major difference here. Can you take a seat in the waiting room, please? I've left my bag in your office. Why don't we have a picnic in the park? So there you are. Preposition in is used for buildings, rooms with places that can surround a person or an object on all sides, inside the edges of something, that is. Can you please wait in the lobby? I've left my phone in your room. Let's go for a picnic in the park. All examples indicate things enclosed in edges where the edges may not be very clear. Then we go to preposition in. It's used when edges are less clear. Areas, regions, cities, etc. When the edges are not very well defined. Fine? Means world is very different. Cities, towns, regions. So there is it. I am making this video in Dakshai. Edges are less clear. I grew up in Kasauli. Traveling in France is easy if you know French. Of course. Daksha is a cantonment in the hills. Lots of people were swimming in the lake. Aman got selected in the Indian team, the Indian cricket team. All have borders or edges. We can be located inside the edges. We all can be located inside the edges. So that is the use of in. But there is an exception. For important high-level groups where members are often elected. For example, he is on the board. He is on the council. Or she is on the committee. When you're using these examples, you will use on, not in. This is an exception, different rule. You can also use in with liquids other than substances. So, in can also be used with liquids. Right? Careful. There's a lot of chili in that sauce. There's too much sugar in soft drinks. Of course it is. Do you have milk in your coffee? Or you have prefer dark coffee, black coffee? What kind of coffee you prefer? So that's it. We say that somebody or something is in a line. Somebody is in the line, something is in a line. In a row, somebody is in a row, something is in a row. In a queue, in bed, in the country, in the countryside, in the sky, in the world, in a paragraph, in a photograph, in a picture, in an office, in a book, in a newspaper, in a magazine, in a letter. We say that somebody is in hospital, in prison, in jail. Anna is in hospital because she needs surgery, or Anna is in hospital because she needs surgery. Fine. So because she needs surgery, she's in the hospital. So there is the use of in defined carefully. Now we move to the next preposition, on. The preposition on is used to talk about position of something on surfaces like wall, tables, everything. Wall, table, on the surfaces. Fine. My book is on the table. My book is on the table. You can see a painting on the wall. You can see a painting on the wall behind me. We live on the third floor of the building. Can you write on that piece of paper? He has spilled ice cream on his new shirt. What a shame. Fine. So that is on. When some surface is there. When you talk about some surface, a wall, a table, or anything, even this shirt, this is a surface. Fine. So we talk about on a surface. Then flat surfaces include roads, streets, and rivers. The supermarket is on the corner of Martin Street. Mumbai is on the west coast of India. Now, the idea of flat surfaces also includes water. So, rivers, ocean, lake, ponds, all this. Fine. What's that on the water? And what's that floating on the water? We'll take you out on the lake in our boat. We'll be on the lake in our boat. On the lake. Fine. On the water. On the west coast of India. Remember. We use on in the following expressions. The examples are on the left, on the right. You don't say in the right, at the right. You say on the left, on the right, on the left hand side, on the right hand side. On the ground floor, on the first floor, on the second floor. On a map, on a menu, on a list, on a farm, on a beach, on the way, on my way. So all these things are used fine with on. Remember this. Then we go to preposition at. Again, a very important preposition at. Mostly we get confused in this and commit so many errors. So that's it. So at, we talk about specific places or points in space. It's used to talk about specific places or points in space. Daksh is still at school. I'll meet you at the airport. Turn right at the traffic lights. Preposition at is also used with public places and shops. I studied art at the college or school or university. Let's meet at the railway station, airport, gallery, wherever. We have to stop at the supermarket on the way home or at the chemist shop. There was a smart boy at the library today. There was a decent boy in the library today. There was a crazy guy at the library today. There was a big rush at the library today. There was no rush at the library today. So at the library is public places. Important point. So we use at. Preposition at is also used with addresses. We have to refer to addresses. I live at 10 Charing Cross. I'll meet you at the corner of Raman Street and Park Road. I had a coffee at Ram's house today. I had a coffee at school cafeteria. At a house, right? You understand that? Careful not to confuse with preposition with another with. Remember this. Yeah. Now the preposition at with events. We met at a party. We don't meet in a party. We meet at a party. He's speaking at a conference later this week. Remember this. At a conference later this week. So, in all of these examples, the preposition at is used to talk about specific places or points in space. When you have specific places, you talk about at. Now, important points, review points. Let's go for it. Fine. Revise what we have done. At is one-dimensional. Think of a map. Have you seen a map? When you are looking at the map, you're referring to a specific place or position in the space. On is two-dimensional. You have flat surface and you're referring to a position of something or someone in relation to that surface. This is my thumb on my hand. With relation to the hand, this thumb is there. Fine. So you are recognizing the space around you a little more when you're using that preposition. So that is two-dimensional. But in is a sort of three-dimensional preposition. So when you use it, you need to think about preposition of something in relation to what surrounds it completely. I am in the room. I'm not out of the room. I'm not on the room. I'm not at the room. I am in the room. Fine. I am maybe at the computer. Fine. I'm working with the computer, at the computer, but I'm in the room. But there are exceptions. The use of prepositions, there are exceptions. Certain things which don't go according to the rules. So they are called exceptions, which are also referred to as gray areas. Because sometimes we wonder what's right, what's wrong. So we talk about these exceptions or the gray areas, which the things which are not clear, which are unclear, right? Which are not black or white, which are gray. So somewhere middle path is there. So we don't know where exactly we have to go. So it's unclear. So that's a very common expression. Let's talk about these exceptions. When you are talking about the place or a location of something, it's on the corner or it's at the corner. You say both. These two examples mean the same thing. The museum is on the south side of the city. So this expression on the south side or on the right side or on the left side is always uses the preposition on. Your seat is on the left side. We say that somebody is at home, at work, at school, at university, at college. Mary is not at home. She is at work. I'm studying engineering at university. We both we use both in and at for buildings. We often use them without much difference in meaning. They are used without much difference in meaning. But we use at to say when an event takes place. For example, a concert, a film, a party, and a meeting. For example, we went to a concert at the Royal Festival Hall. We went to a concert at the Royal Festival Hall. We are celebrating my birthday at the pub I told you about. Hmm? We say at the station, at the airport. Don't wait for me at the airport. I will take a taxi. We say at somebody's house. I already had dinner at Mike's place. Fine. We also say at the doctor's, at the hairdresser's, at the supermarket. I brought my shampoo at the supermarket. We use in when we are talking about the building itself. We had dinner at the hotel, at the restaurant, right? At the cafeteria, in the students' mess. Mumbai is on the west coast of India, but Mumbai is also in the west of India. On the west coast, in the west of India. What is the difference? There is a difference here when we are referring to the flat surface and the region or the area. So that's a spatial difference. On the west coast or in the west coast, I'll see you at Raman's house. So that's the place, right? You understand? But I'll meet you in the kitchen. It's an enclosed room or enclosed space. I'll meet you at the corner of Beach Street and Park Road. I saw it in the corner of the room. So that's an enclosed space. Write it on the paper in your notebook at the top of the page in the corner. You can see this on the paper in your notebook at the top of the page or in the corner. That is what I'm referring to. We usually say on the bus or on a bus, on a train, on a plane, on a ship, but in a car, in a taxi. Remember this always. Fine. The bus was very full. There were too many people on it. Michael arrived in his car. We say, I am in the car and I am on the bus or the train. So you remember on the bus, on the train, in the car, right? In the taxi. Remember this. There are also times when you can use two different prepositions and the meaning is actually really similar, especially between at and on. How? Nisha is still in school or Nisha is still at school. What is the difference? Now these sentences mean almost exactly the same thing. In school suggests that Nisha is inside the school buildings. She is a student. She is learning there. At suggests that she is at the location of the school, but she could be inside the building or outside. She is not necessarily a student either. She could be a parent visiting the school or a visitor. So that is the difference. Yeah. Now let's take examples. I think they are at the beach. I think they're on the beach. At the beach is the place. On the beach means the sand. But you can't use in. If you say in, you need to use the water. I am inside, in the water. Inside means, of course, different. In the water. Fine. There is a difference here. You can be in the water. She is in the sea. She is in the lake. She is in the water. Right? Now, preposition by. The next one. I'm waiting by the car. Near the car. Put your bag by the door and sit down. Near the door. Here, by is used to mean next to something or beside or near. These are all prepositions that give us detail about the location of something. They live near the school, they live next to the school, or they live by the school. Right? There's a difference. Now I talk to you how you go to learn these prepositions, how you remember these prepositions. It's not very difficult to remember if you follow proper rules. So one little tip I'll give you here is collocations. Collocations is the group of words that are often used together. Together. In the morning, at night. It depends on my mood. It depends on the toss. Will India bat first or bowl? It depends on the pitch and the toss if you win the match. He's keen on football. Virat Kohli is keen on cricket. He's keen on films. is keen on eating. Fine. Apologize for something. Apologize to someone. Both can be used for and to. But difference is there. The sentence meaning changes. How? He's calling to apologize for missing the meeting yesterday. Apologizing for something. He should apologize to his boss for missing the meeting yesterday. Apologizing to someone for something to someone. These are collocations, as I told you. We'll remember these words along with prepositions, how they are used. Travel to somewhere, travel for a purpose or a time. Now you also travel to somewhere, right? So let's talk how. We travel to London for the holidays. Have you ever traveled to Africa? So we use travel to, but we also use travel for when we are talking about the purpose or even a time. I'm traveling for 3 months. I'm traveling for work. See, 3 months time for work, for a job, for a purpose of work. Then we apply for something and apply to a person. You apply for something, right? I'm applying for a scholarship. I'm applying for a new job. But we can also apply to a person. Ask for something. I'm asking for a new mobile for my birthday. Ask for help if you don't understand. If you need it, ask for help. I'm telling you, ask for help if you don't understand. Fine. Belong to someone or a group. We use belong to when we are talking about ownership of being part of something. Do you know whose dog that belongs to? That car that I smashed belonged to my father's company. My God. Notice that we don't use belong for, we use belong to. How to use prepositions to talk about years, dates, and time on, in, and at. You can see the difference now. In is used for centuries, 21st century, decades, years, months, in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. On is used for days of the week, days of the month, dates consisting of month and day, February 25th. Holidays using the word day, Christmas, Easter, New Year's Day, Diwali, Dussehra. And at is for time, midnight, 7 o'clock, 7:30, etc. Holidays without day, Christmas, Easter, New Year's Day, etc. Night. So that is the major difference in, on, and at. Remember, at is one dimensional, on is two dimensional, in is three dimensional, right? In approach. Now let's talk about this exercise and I hope you will be able to understand. I want to lose 5 kilograms in 1 month, on 1 month, or at 1 month. But of course, in 1 month. Fine? Not specific, but 1 month. Could you get me this pants? A larger size, dash larger size. Now tell me on larger size, at larger size, or in larger size. But of course, in larger size. See, she seems to be interested, dash psychology, in the psychology. I will come to pick you up 2 p.m. tomorrow. At 2 p.m. tomorrow. Fine. Specific time is given at 2 p.m. tomorrow. I will come to pick you up at 2 p.m. tomorrow. This class will be held dash Mondays. Monday, no specific time is given, but specificity is there. So on Mondays, can't be in Monday, can't be at Monday. Fine. If I say 2 p.m. Monday, this class will be held 2 p.m. This class will be held dash 2 p.m. Mondays at 2 p.m. on Mondays. You understand that? That is the basic use of these prepositions on, at, in, and of course by. Thank you so much. Hope you've understood this. Keep following the YouTube channel, subscribing it. Any problems, we will meet again. Till then, bye-bye. Stay safe. Thank you so much for being the part of this YouTube channel.